Let's cut this thing on.
Do, 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 do.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is time for the last weekly Daily Wednesday of December. Yeah.
Yeah, December. Yeah.
We're just going to go with be safe on that for December. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody's in the festive holiday spirit. You're hiding at home, maybe dodging children, dodging parents, doing whatever you got to do, just general dodging. You could be just sitting around by yourself dodging, the voices in your head, however you want to rock and roll with it. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just getting stuff out for social media. But we got a little bit of a show for you this afternoon, this evening, this morning. It's morning somewhere, but it's not Wednesday if it's morning for you. Got a little bit of Windows, artificial intelligence. I'm going to tell you about that Firewire video that I worked on, some of the stuff I found out. Jill's found a Christmas bash tree that doesn't blink, and Fedora's got an Acai remix. And, of course, Jellyfin and a VHS cassette, for those of you who have the slightest idea of what a VHS cassette is. Unlike the save icon you might be familiar with. We don't have VHS cassettes that have, what's the word I'm looking for? Skeuomorphic design, right? Because
yeah.
You're like, all right, that's a save icon. Oh, that used to be a physical object. Like, we don't have that for the cassette tape. I'm like, oh, what's that? VCR. Vintage, retro. Ah. Hello, Arthur.
I could share you my tree, Vin, so you can see it.
Do you guys have a tree?
There it is.
All right.
I could do it during the show. Share it real quick. see how this works. Yeah, it works good. Okay. Sometimes, years back, Jitsi share was always a little funky sometimes.
Mm.
It seems to work a lot better now. So if you want me to share it, I can.
All right, so I got all the social media
ASCII
stuff.
tree.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not for or against any of the Christmas stuff. I'm like whatever, have fun. It's another corporate holiday, and I don't decorate for it.
It's an excuse to party and eat good food.
The only thing that bothers me is having to deal with all the Christmas music in retail outlets when I go shopping.
Yeah.
It's just constantly on. Small inconvenience, but that's... and I talked about that on Saturday. It's more empathy for the employees that have to deal with that for from November until December, right? You imagine you want to listen to something. It's like, all you get to listen to at work is Christmas music. And I don't care what type of music it is. It could be, I wouldn't want to listen to any genre of music for 2 months straight. I wouldn't be happy about it.
Oh, there you are, Joe, in audio in the before the pre-show of LWW. We talked about you, and I talked about how much fun you'll have in the tamale cook-off you're doing at your house. It is a tradition.
I have to imagine that Joe is implementing a avoidance strategy in his basement.
Yeah.
Pro strats, pro moves. All right. We are going to hop on it. So we got about 7 minutes before go time.
Okay.
And
Here,
make sure
this
that
tree
it's set
over
up.
here, so I can share it if I want to. Okay.
Got pizza for lunch. You guys eat some pizza. I know Joe. What is it, Joe? Sunday pizza?
Okay. I'll be right back.
Strangely enough, I've never enjoyed pizza and beer. That's always been a thing, though. You know, you grow up, you're like, yeah, pizza and beer, and everybody like, let's go get pizza and beer. I don't mind. The only beer that I found that kind of works with pizza for me is like, what was it? Killian's. Like, I scienced this out, man. I wasn't, I'm not somebody that just bounces off something. I'm like, I'll find a beer that I can enjoy with pizza. The Killian Irish Red was palatable with beer. Universal Christmas music stopped at the Silent Night. I don't know, man. I don't know any like Christmas music songs or anything, but they don't have that same vibe to it. That's all right. Like, whatever. Some people just dig the absolute snot out of it, and they're like, "Hey, man, it makes you happy. Go for it. Whatever. Not hurting me. Not even a little bit." Right. Yeah, UGA's got a pretty decent pharmacy program. They do. I get all my stuff moved around. I'm trying to make use of this monitor that I've had on this desk since I bought it, because like I'm going to use it for something. And it's what is it, like 13.5, 14 inch 1080p IPS panel, and it's like one of those little portable ones. So I got Discord in it right now. I tried putting OBS in it. You would think, yeah, OBS is good, but I've had OBS in the left upper hand corner of this monitor for so long. I don't think I can reprogram that. That's the equivalent of moving an icon on your Android device. I'm bad about that. Like if I move one, weeks before I can do it. Get back to that muscle memory develops so quickly. You get so used to just opening it, boop, hitting the thing real quick. It's a train wreck. Joe, your dog looks terribly deflated. Maybe it's tuckered out. All right. I gotta finish up. We played, what was it? Lethal Company on Saturday, which was fun enough. But the mods are unhinged for that game. I think I finally found a roguelite that I enjoy, because that's what the game is. It's just first person. I'm looking forward to coming back to that. I need to bounce this guy back there. We got our 3 records locked in. Avoiding it, Joe. Avoiding it. Maybe you missed like right at the beginning there. Like I'm glad that people derive joy and pleasure from like. I'm not down with the corporate holiday stuff, man. When is it next week? I guess it's got to be next week. We're running out of days, aren't we? It's in 4 days. 1, 2, 3 on the 24th. All right, so 25th. Dude, this year was turbo year. I was thinking about that earlier this week, man. I was looking back at my whiteboard. I got a whiteboard with like projects that I want to get done every year. And I don't write them out a year at a time. It's just like my scratch board, the Sharpie whiteboard thing meme. And when did I come up with that one? I was looking at it, I was like, January. Like, wow, it feels like January was like, seriously, maybe like 2 months ago. Strange. But that's all right. Get this put together and... Yeah, I'm tossing over an idea because I'm starting to get a bunch of questions about how to install NVIDIA drivers with a real-time kernel. People wanting to set up stable diffusion, AI learning, and all that. And that's a tough one to tackle. It's very easy to do. Very easy to do, but it's very easy to not follow directions and work a system. I got to come up with that because you can put the most perfect instructions. And if you want to see a great example of it, go look at the guide I made for installing DaVinci Resolve on AMD with AMD GPU compute acceleration, which only works if you follow the guide exactly. And just read through the comments on that. There are plenty of comments. I'm going to say it's about 60% of the comments, people going, I followed the guide exactly step by step and I got a finished product. Then you have the other 40% of the comments and people who are like, I'm going to add my own artistic flair. Hey, it didn't work. And the only thing you can reply to that is, well, you have to follow, like, there's no wiggle room here. You have to do exactly what AMD says on this, or it's not going to work. And you're like, I'm going to make it work, and you never hear from them again. So you always run into problems like that when you're thinking about making a guide for somebody. You're like, how's this person going to mess it up? You gotta try to outthink them. They're like, okay, they're going to try to do this, so I need to tell them not to do that, or just catch them before they drive their little Linux car off the Linux cliff. All right. Let me go make some tea, Jill, and we're going to hop into it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sounds good.
We got 6 stores to talk
Yeah,
about
we do.
on our holiday edition. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Arthur, now you gotta... Now you're in a better place, huh, Arthur? Oh, yeah, so I'm still using this, and the reason is it's still full of water. I still have it's half full. So it's lasted me a long time, and it's really cute. Yeah, as soon as this is not full anymore, I'll bring another mug out. It's the only thing about having something so big. It lasts a long time, but that's a good thing. I never get thirsty. Yeah, and that's lasted lots of hours of LWW in the last few weeks. Cool. I'm gonna check. Do we have anyone on YouTube right now? Let's see. Our YouTube chat. It's been fun because some of you guys are in Twitch and Discord and some are on YouTube. That makes it lots of variety. Let's say do my pop out of my YouTube. Nope. Okay, doesn't look like anyone's in there right now. But let me do my pop out anyways, just in case. Do. Yeah, it's the holidays. So, Arthur and Joe, do you guys have any plans for the holidays besides getting together with family? You guys gonna do something fun for yourselves? Yeah, I don't. I'm unfortunately don't have a lot of time, even though I'm off, just because I've got 4 families to visit. So I am happy to see them, but it would be nice to have more free time for myself. Me and hubby were talking about that last night, so we're gonna do some stuff together, just us. It's not that often that husband gets off. He's always working so many hours. Play video games and be with the family. Oh, you have to go to on the 27th, Joe? Oh, I'm sorry. And Arthur says, just stick with family until I get bored. You have work during the holidays too? Aw, you and Joe, you got screwed this holiday season. Oh boy, Joe. That's no fun. I actually, for the first time in a long time, besides doing, I've got 1 week off from LWW, but I've got a whole month off from doing all my other podcasting duties at Destination Linux, because we pre-recorded 6 episodes in the last few weeks so we could have a vacation, and that's been so nice. That's really, really cool. So that's gonna free me up. We're actually, that's one of the reasons why we can visit so many families. It's because I've got more time off, and Steve has a couple weeks too. Oh, you're gonna learn Python. Yeah, that's a good language to learn. I need to brush up on my Python. I went through a couple courses. I still know the basics, but it would be nice to brush up on that. And let me see, I'm gonna... I was just booping my Steve husband. He has been so busy at work, of course, trying to finalize things. He's off starting Friday. Yeah, you know what my plans next year are, Theron? Oh, thank you, Game Tag Name Tag, for the follow. Oh, and there's my Steve husband is on YouTube chat. I see you, Steve husband, on YouTube, and now on Discord. Oh, hi, Scoots. Hi, JS Car. Yay, Joe. Joe is our amigo. Yeah, so... Yeah, I saw your YouTube post, honey. My Steve husband. So what? I think Steve and we kind of have a New Year's resolution to really seriously work on the house. Where we finally we've hired a handyman to take care of lots of little things that we've needed done. And then we're going to start doing major things. It's definitely been a process, because with Steve has been working so many hours, it's hard to do things. But if we have a handyman that comes in occasionally and does, fixes little things here and there that we need done, then that starts the process. So that's good. Yeah, it will be, Arthur, definitely. It's a really good house with good bones, but houses require maintenance and upkeep, so we need some of that.
You got some Raspberry Pi 5s coming in? Good.
Yeah. Nice, JS Car. DigiSpark. Oh, cool. Awesome.
What are you talking about, Steve? Why are you in YouTube chat?
Yeah. I know. I think he went there because I was asking. I was asking if anyone was there, and so I was going to check, and there he was.
Oh. Yeah, YouTube chat's not bridged. So.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I haven't looked for the Pi 5 availability since last Wednesday.
Joe, you're asking the correct word. Can you order one? Absolutely, my man. You can order one all you want.
Yeah, I mean, they had...
there? Will they deliver it to you anytime soon? Probably not.
Yeah,
However,
we had
feel free to order
pre-orders.
them.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, looks like Canakit has them in stock now. That's good.
Does Canakit have them in stock without a bundle attached to them?
Oh, no, they are pre-order. No. They are pre-order, and yeah, they do have just the single board normally now, which is nice. So it's not just the kits. So they
I got a kit from them when I got my Raspberry Pi 4, just because I didn't want to piecemeal everything.
Oh, I know, they're great. Yeah, in fact, Canakit is what I used to always have my students, buy from, so they get the whole kit with everything.
And they managed to stay in stock right when Raspberry Pi 4s were first going out of stock and not getting made. Because, people didn't want to spend, I think it was like $120 for the kit with everything when you could get the Pi for $75. But when the prices for the scalped Raspberry Pi 4s got above that, then all the kits sold out.
Oh, okay.
Because people were just like, you know what? We're just going to buy the whole kit, throw the rest of the kit away. We just need the Raspberry Pi 4s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made an excellent, in fact, a couple of our Linux Chicks ladies who have kids brought the full Canakit, the one where you make a laptop out of the Raspberry Pi or a tablet. They're really nice. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I still got all the stuff that came out of the kit. Just
didn't need it. You needed the Pi.
Over time, I piecemealed what I needed together. But, if you just need something, just boom, right there. I was like, that's what I needed to get up to speed on it. That's what I wish they had with the Orange Pi. Like, there's not a add-in partner that really has, not one that I would consider ordering from, like a good case, good power supply, all stuck together. I'm like, hey, I could just buy that at one time. I haven't found a vendor that doesn't look extraordinarily shady, I think is the right word, right way to say it. And there's not a bunch of good cases for the Orange Pi 5 yet.
Yeah, there aren't. Yeah, that definitely is an issue.
And I don't want a pretty case. I don't want a flashy case. I want a case that I can pop that thing in and throw it in the rack back here and never look at it again case.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, cool, JS Car. Where about in Cali? What desert are you in? Here, I'm here in SoCal on the coast of Los Angeles. Mojave Desert, Sonoran Desert. I like them all.
Desserts.
Oh, you got yeah. You got spammed.
You gotta watch out for Nightbot. Nightbot has this, no chill with all caps. It's brutal.
Nice JS Car. I see.
Oh. You bring that up, Earth Theory, and I did the same thing. I did that earlier this week I came in here and get rid of the squeak. No more squeaky chair.
Oh, good, Ben. Our Theron did the same, and that helped remind you. Yeah, so far this chair hasn't squeaked. It's only about a year old now, but it hasn't squeaked. But my door squeaks. I need to get my door unsqueaked. It's because I've got kind of quite a bit of weight on the door, because that's where I store all my penguin bags and hats. So it's got some weight to it.
Let me give you some elder advice, Arthur. What you need to start doing is collecting your Allen wrenches.
Oh, yeah. I have a box of those.
Get them in a bag now. I have like my good Allen wrenches.
Yeah.
A couple of different sets. But I have my bag of Allen wrenches that I've collected over the years because you never know. Like weird sizes. Things are usually kind of standard, but sometimes you get some fun, some weird ones.
Yeah.
I know exactly where that bag is, and I go digging around it, and I'm like, when I get Allen wrenches that came with this chair, they just went in that bag, man.
Oh, cool. My brother's in the house. Yay. Hi, Jack. Hi, Jelly Bean.
Hello, Bean.
And JS Carr. Looking forward to meeting you at Scale. Awesome.
The rent, you got to get rid of the rent. Okay. By the age of 40, you got to let the cable and wire adapter box go. I did that, and like right at the edge of that. We talked about it a couple times in the pre-show. Might have talked about it in the show before. It is the box, the bin, whatever you have. We're talking like coaxial cables, ribbon cables for floppy drive. Probably got a floppy drive sitting in there. You got power adapters for things that you haven't had for 20 years. Phone cord. I mean, just stuff that you're never going to use anymore. But somewhere in the back of your brain, it's that little hoardy thing. It's like, just in case, though, man, I might need that. And like I think in mine, I had a good laugh when I was dumping it out. I had remember these caller ID.
Oh, yeah.
I bought one of those when that was the thing. A separate caller ID unit, not built into the mobile phone or anything. Like you plugged it in separately, and I'm like, yeah. I think it's time to let that go. $395.
Oh, I'm so happy my brother's in the house. I gotta make plans with him soon see when we're gonna spend Christmas together.
All right. I think we got everything humming along. Let me clear and reset the graph over here on the dock. All right. So I don't like this chat being over here. We've determined that. Whatever.
I've got this. My YouTube pop out is bright white, and it's on one of my monitors that's the brightest set. I should lower the brightness of that monitor.
Yeah, anything. I found a good plugin for if you're using Firefox. I found a good make everything not bright. And
that is a good one. Yeah.
On Chromium, just go into Chrome flags and just force everything to dark.
Yeah. I need to do that on this Vivaldi here.
The only thing I don't do it on is this monitor. This Chrome beta, because this browser, all it does is kind of a butter robot for the show. It's just for story tabs, and it's got all of our streaming services up and running. Oh, it's a butter browser. It doesn't do anything else. It is the only browser, the only plugin. Okay, it's got two plugins installed. It's got the auto scroll plugin.
Yes.
Which I still to this day don't understand how I broke. It was like 2 weeks ago. I think the show, when Jordan was in Florida, it was me and Pedro. I somehow hit some weird moon glyph combination on the keyboard. Because normally we go to this, and what you don't see, I'm normally down here in the corner, but I click middle click, and I have that. So I can go up and down. So I hit a key on that, which made it only go left and right.
Yeah.
like a barbarian, like a primitive.
Like a
I was having to
barbarian.
manually scroll the stories for the rest of them. So brutal.
Yeah, one of my favorite functions for Firefox and Vivaldi is they both have reader views, which are really nice. So get rid of all the ads, just the text. It's nice for doing show notes and whatnot.
Yeah, I got uBlock. That uBlock installed on this shit because we're not dealing with the cancer that. Seeing a website without uBlock or NoScript. I use NoScript.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And like that's just the way I roll. Just seeing like a raw website, you just see how horrible it is.
Yeah.
However, I know of a site, it's called linuxgamecast.com. None of that nonsense. Not a drop. Except for
Not a drop.
whatever's only tied into that, YouTube video. But there's no tracking, no analytics. Like, go there. I will know. What would I know? Not unless you trigger the web application firewall. But outside of that, man, like, I don't know. If you try to start brute forcing the CMS, then I get an alert. Then I'll come find you. Oh, yeah. Like, ad block used to be a cool little thing that you would just put on your system. You're like, hey, watch ad. I no longer have to worry about Punch the Monkey ads. Now, it is a necessity when you think we're living in a world. And I always say this. Show me an ad. I'm cool with that. Give me a banner. Animate it. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. I will make that transaction with you. But placing cookies, mining data, and all that, I'm like, no. That's not part of the deal. You want to serve me like local ads? That's cool. I can be down with that. I understand how that works. And yeah, just hitting websites now it's just cancerous on
It is.
so many sites. But what really sets me off is auto-playing video. Auto-playing video is should just be like,
yeah, especially when you're trying to do a show. It comes up and there's the audio. And you're like, oh my God.
every time I hit it, it'll be on mobile. And my first thought is like, am I on Wi-Fi? You don't want to burn up your data on something. It's going to be dark patterned enough to where it is going to be nigh impossible to close it.
Yeah.
And you've seen the thing where you've paused the video, like stop. There's not even an option to close it, but there's a pause and you scroll and they'll move it down to the bottom right-hand corner. I'm like, just in case it might start back up again. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, JS Car. I've got Brave. I've got 10 different internet browsers installed for doing podcasting because there's some days where Chrome is just not behaving, so we go to another one. It just happens. So I occasionally will use Brave, but very rarely. Mostly I'm on Firefox and Vivaldi.
Yeah, Firefox has been pretty reasonable. I haven't run okay, the one thing that they don't have a solution for, which I would like to see, it would be a very nice quality of life thing, is the grammar and spelling check accuracy of Chrome.
Yeah.
Like, I've come
To use that.
so reliant on that especially with like Google Docs, you know, like,
Yeah. That's
like
handy.
I'm to the point where I will spell something correctly and I'm like, that can't be right. So I'll add an extra like L to it.
A letter just to check.
Just to make it trigger it. So then I can check it just to confirm it. Because I'm like, I probably didn't get that right. It's crazy, man. I got a plugin for Firefox that I'm still testing out. And it kind of does, but it's very clunky about the way it does it. Yeah, that would be one of those like quality of life things I would like to see Mozilla Foundation work on instead of like, I don't know, whatever crazy thing they'll announce at the beginning of next year. Because they're going to do it, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be another project from the Mozilla Foundation. Like, why are you doing this? All right. Cool. And when it comes to like YouTube and Twitch, man, if you give me an option to like get rid of ads, like where I just give you money to get rid of ads, I'll give you the money. You know, I got YouTube Premium, I got Twitch Turbo Lightning, whatever it's called this week. Because I ain't got time for that stuff, man. Just like I want to watch the thing. It's background noise. Yeah, and the latest version of Firefox ships with Wayland enabled by default.
Yeah, it's nice.
Dude, the
It's really
neck
fast.
bearding. The neck bearding in the comments section on Reddit. Oh my. I saw it posted on our Linux, and somebody's like, hey, Wayland's enabled by default. Just comment after comment, like, well, actually, it's always been there. It's been there for years. I'm like, yeah, but you had to go in and enable it by a flag. It's by default now. That's the story. But Wayland was it already had Wayland support actually, and like, nobody invites you to parties for a reason. All right. Cool. I think we're rocking and rolling. Let's go. Let's go. Got that. Got tea. Got drinks. Oh. Cool. Never back down. Oh. Do a record. All right. Wayland is hopefully, I don't know at this point. I wouldn't rule out something replacing Wayland. I wouldn't. Just throw that out there. You ready, Joe?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Joe Bryant. Everybody watching us live, we're just hanging out in the pre-show. If you're a patron, go back and listen to that. Watch it if you want. If not, we have an uncut channel, which our live stream is released a week later. If you want to go check that out, it's one of our suggested channels on our YouTube, which is just /Linux Gamecast. But Joe, you're getting ready to go hang out with all of the family. You got to do the rounds, as some people do. Like, I got to go visit this person, this person, this
Yeah.
person, this person, this person, this person, this person.
Yes. I got 4 families to visit. That's my family, but the extended family. So
I don't know. I like the idea of just randomly visiting from families.
yeah, that
Like-
actually would be
Like, it's that
interesting.
weirdo from down the street again.
I can enjoy all the food at their table. Yeah, so true. So we won't be doing LWW next week for a holiday vacation. But we will be back the following week to start off the New Year's. Woohoo! And happy holidays to all our viewers and patrons. And to celebrate, I'm wearing my rare LGC Hill Santa shirt. That's HAIL Santa shirt. From quite a few years ago, Vin made that.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I just made one of those because I always wanted to do a Hail Santa thing because that is my response when for it's even outside of Christmas too. Like when somebody gets in my face about something, like, yeah, I'm like, Hail Santa. I just walk off.
Yeah.
Because I'm cool like that. I'm a 40-year-old edgelord, ladies and gentlemen. What have I been up to? Couple of things. Database migration for Trackmania. Because I ran into a situation last week where I have unattended upgrades set up on the Trackmania server. And I'm like, just felt like I needed to do a manual apt update. Just see what's going on, make sure everything's working. And it's like, you know what? We can't find the public key for MySQL. And I'm running like SQL on this thing because of this Trackmania stuff from years and years ago and like the best compatibility. I'm like, you know what? We're just going to do it. And I was running version 5.7 and I'm like, what's going on here? And my first thought was like, oh boy, wait a minute. All right. Then I go to the search and I type in MySQL 5.7 EOL into life. That was in October of this year. So I did I was like, do I want to do an in-place upgrade to SQL 8, which I don't want to bother messing with and all that. And I had to wait out. I ended up just super easy. Just exported the database, wiped out SQL, installed Maria or Maria. I always call it Mara.
DB. Yeah.
DB.
Yeah.
Spooled that up, read the docs, make sure it wasn't like wide open. I'm like, okay, I got this set up, popped it in, switched out some UTF stuff, and spooled it up. Worked fine. Relatively painless. So,
Nice.
yeah, I did that. Speaking of Trackmania, for the rest of the holiday season, the rest of this week and all of next week, our Trackmania server is open to the public.
Yay!
Come check it out. We did that last night. We had a bunch of people pop in and out and back in again. It was good. We got 14 maps. If you like, I think it's a weird thing. Get your mind around that, because if you're looking for like just a hardcore racing game, it's not that. It is a puzzle game. You got to think about it. And it's weird to see how people bounce off of it sometimes, because they're expecting one thing and it's giving you the other thing.
Yeah, they're expecting a classic racing game,
right? Or like drifting and all
Yeah.
that. Like, it's strange to say this is a thinking game where you have to puzzle stuff out and work it, and you got to play around with physics. It's got 2 buttons. You can play it with a keyboard if you want, or you can play it with a controller. But come check that out. Just get a copy of Trackmania 2 if you don't already have one. Go to the server browser. Just type in Linux. Do a search, and you'll find our Filthy Casuals box. It's up and running. Have a great time, and we will be back on Friday for a rounds match at 7:30 p.m. That's on our schedule. If you want to pop into that, we'll be in the Discord. If you're a Twitch sub or a patron, get into our Discord. If you want to be on voice, if not, just show up, come play. Well, it's not about who can get around the fastest. It's who can get around the most.
Yeah, and it's also just a really fun group. I'm gonna miss you guys for a couple weeks, but after New Year's, I will be back playing Trackmania.
It's a good time. It's a great game for everyone too.
Yeah,
and it's classic, old school. All right,
yes,
let's go ahead and hop into it this week. By talking about something I ran into last week. I was just like browsing around, and I saw a little news story about Microsoft and AI. And I haven't bought into the AI hype. I'm more curious. I'm like, where's this going to go? When are we going to get, a T800 is what I'm waiting for, right? I'm not looking for a T1000. I don't need molten metal yet. I just need a good old-fashioned T800 walking around. That's what I'm waiting
there
on.
we go.
Kind of keeping my eye on. I'm always curious, because AI has been the domain of Linux, as well it should be. And Microsoft said, hey, we have Windows AI Studio. Oh, okay. Tell me about it. Microsoft, they released a new tool, and they say, hey, it's going to help developers jumpstart local AI development and deployment. You guessed it, on Windows. Microsoft loves AI with a penguin attached to it.
Yes.
Right? And according to Microsoft, getting started with AI development locally on Windows is easier and faster than ever. It's a new AI experience, and they're even working on Windows AI VS Code extensions, so they're super serial.
Yeah.
What caught me off guard with this is, how do we test this new super fantastic tool from Microsoft? Well, step 1 is install Linux. I'm not even kidding. Windows AI Studio requires WSL Ubuntu 18.4 or greater. And I was curious, Jill, earlier this week. I'm like, why is this Mastodon post I made getting all this traction? I'm getting a bunch of like retweets or retweets or whatever, not tweets, whatever you want to call them. And that's because on this It's Foss post was linked to, what I said on the Mastodon. Step 1, install Linux. I'm like, oh, great. That's, you run into that. Sometimes you're
awesome.
like, it's linked somewhere to something, but you can never track it down.
Yeah.
So you could run out and put some, I don't know, Linux on your Windows installs, Jill?
Yeah. Yeah, WSL. So this requires Visual Studio Code to be installed as it is a preview package. It is preview packaged as a VS Code extension. And it also only works on NVIDIA GPUs for now. I'm sure that will change in the future. But right now, it's just Team Green. And I think that was so cool then that Mr. Rudra from It's Foss, gave you a shout out because of your post on Mastodon, which actually inspired him to take the Windows AI Studio Adventure and get it installed and up and running. It was because of Ven's toot. That's awesome.
You know what? It's always fun to find out. I'm not even going to pick on him for the typo, because that's not how you spell it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to do it. That'd be horrible. Yeah, unfortunately, AI is going to continue running on NVIDIA GPUs until AMD decides to quit chomping on that glue stick and actually have a working solution. Up next.
Yeah.
Firewire.
Ooh.
I've talked about this multiple times. This is a video I worked on, I don't know, for like a month, and I finally got it done. Why are we talking about Firewire audio interfaces? Oh, man, because you know what? Back in the day, kids, if you had pro audio, no, we're not talking about just sound blasters. Here, let me pull this video up, because that's how we launched this guy. You had something like this, right? Sound Blaster 16 and all that. And as I point out in the video, Jill, that's not a pro sound card, because you know every single thing on that card. You're looking at it and you're like, yeah, man, that's line in, line out. Got a game port and MIDI port. That's not professional, because a pro sound card needs to have at least one thing on it that you don't know what it does. So I bring out some examples of professional broadcast PCI cards with things like that on the side of them. You're like, you got a headphone jack, you got something that looks like a VGA port.
Yeah, a breakout dongle port.
And things like the RME 9632, like that's not for CDs either up top. And, ADAT, light pipe, all the other fun things. But this was a good solution. That's how you added pro audio or, really high-end audio to your system until these things started showing up. Apple, we can blame Apple for this. With the G4 Cube started rolling out, you had all these iMacs. They didn't have expansion slots. And all we had for USB back in the day was USB 1.1. And USB 1.1 wasn't that great. I mean, you could do maybe one, possibly two channels, max 48K. But fortunately, Apple had Firewire on all of the iMacs and the G4 Cubes, and more importantly, their laptops. So in 2001, Motu released this guy just out of nowhere. They dropped it out of orbit, the 828, and going from like, okay, well, we had two channels in, two channels out. This, oh, no, whole different game. This is when you still box 24-bit, 18 simultaneous inputs and outputs. Just plug it in with the Firewire, ready to go. Now, Linux is just known for running older hardware. Like, that's one of the claim to fame to Linux. Like, you can still run this stuff on Linux. You would assume this is just going to work. But I wanted to know how it was going to work in 2023. And I kind of made it a point to say, I'm not going to make a vintage gaming PC with my old AMD. A brand new, reasonably new AM4 system, 5600G. Not only does it work, can we use it? Is it usable? Is it still good? And I'm going to use one of these, which is just a PCI Express Firewire card. I have recommendations, the two I use that I know that work. Now, we can go into the drivers and all that. Long story, just slightly longer. It works a treat. It works a treat. It is genuinely plug and play, because we talked about it on this show. Might have been last year or at the very beginning of this year. The Firewire drivers for pretty much all Firewire audio interfaces have been added to the kernel, thanks to my buddy Tak. You plug it in, you're good to go. Same thing with a Firewire card. You plug it in and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And one thing I did that pretty much everybody's just like, I'm going to stay hushed on, is this. I A/B tested this original device from 2001 against a Motu from 2019. This is legit. It's semi-scientific. They sound different. One doesn't sound better. And this is a point that I really, really try to drive home to people. By 2001, you think about that and you're like, that's old, right? That was a long time ago. You don't want to think about how long ago it was.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. 2001, we figured out how to do analog digital conversion. Like, we were good at it. We weren't figuring it out. There wasn't any quantum leaps to be made by that point. So that does mean that if you have an older device from 2001, 2005, 2010, 2012, 2015, it's going to work just fine. And it's going to sound just as good. It's going to sound different.
Awesome.
They all sound different. And the big thing is Windows and Mac have dropped support for FireWire. And this is what kind of sets me off a little sideways, because all of these perfectly functional devices are getting turned into e-waste.
Yeah, landfills.
Getting dumped out. People are throwing them away. Yeah. Obsolescence, simply because, and here it's a two-pronged effort. The manufacturers could still, at least on Windows, could still release drivers for systems that had a FireWire card. They don't want to do that because it would be a lot cooler if you just went and bought a new one from them.
Their new fancy one, yeah.
And these are not cheap interfaces. Like in 2001, when you bought a Mo 2828, it was somewhere around 800 pounds.
Oh, okay.
UK. Like this was, these are professional interfaces. I paid $49 for this one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how much did you get it off eBay?
$49 mint condition. I waited around for it. And that's the big thing that, people who like to do home recording, everybody's always looking for an angle. The Linux evangelist out there, like, how do we convert these people and we get them to running Linux? This is an often overlooked and unexplored angle because people who do like set up home recording studio, they are used to tinkering and engineering and making things work, getting their hands dirty. So when you can come to them with the offer of, how about you get all this cool professional recording hardware that it still works a treat for pennies on the dollar and make use of it while keeping this stuff out of the landfill.
Yay. And that's what Linux does best.
It is. It's a very strong sell. I've done a lot of work, maybe to the boredom of someone. You're like, this is a gaming channel. Like, why are you doing all this audio stuff? I'm like, I need that infrastructure there before you push stuff like this. Because if I'm going to say, hey, all this stuff is good, it sounds great, it works, it's stable, what's the next question? Well, how do I install? Now it started making sense. Like, oh, that's why I've been doing all those other videos. I'm like, I already got that in place. So they start showing up, looking at that. And this is going to be doubly so with Apple, because Apple is going to be removing, I think Dak sent me a message in the show suggestions on our Discord. They're going to be removing just the ability, because on Apple, there have been holdouts because there was this FireWire dongle of nonsense that you could go from FireWire to Thunderbolt 1 to Thunderbolt 2, maybe to Thunderbolt USB. It was very long and complicated, and it would work. But I think one of the upcoming updates to Mac OS, whatever it is this week, is just going to remove support for that completely. Like, it's just not going to work at all. So, sit back if you've been looking for a good audio interface, or if you know somebody looking for an audio interface and there's somebody who's willing to set up their own studio. These are great. You can get stuff that will outperform what you would normally get. Like if a $100 interface, you get like the Focusrite or whatever the kids are buying right now, the little box right there. If you want something with way more expandability. Now, granted, you need a desktop computer. If you got a laptop, you're out of luck. Not going to happen. Because you're going to get to Amazon, you're going to search USB to FireWire converter, you're going to see a little dongle that's like $7. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. I put that thing might as well be made of ham for all it will do.
Needs a little more power behind it.
There's no such thing as a USB to FireWire converter, period. It doesn't exist, never has. No one's going to bother to make one. It's silly because it's two completely different protocols. And you have the added benefit of the FireWire being a better protocol than USB. USB is a dumpster fire for audio. Just the design of it. Focusrite, strangely enough, it might be PreSonus. They have a good little article explaining the differences between USB and FireWire. Pro audio devices went from FireWire to Thunderbolt. They didn't like USB. They're like, we're not touching that. The only company that has touched USB for their high-end devices is RME, and the Scandinavian Witchcraft. They've had to pull off. If you look on the back of an RME system, it's got class compliant mode, and then Scandinavian Witchcraft mode that they've had to all the back end stuff to get it to work with a USB, and they're all USB 2 devices. So there you go. save some of these great little devices. If you're thinking about recording stuff at home, you want to start doing a show or like you're doing live recording
Yeah.
and you want to get that set up, yeah, hop over to eBay and just have a great time with us. And I'll always be, this is very easy to do because this is one of those static things. You know, every FireWire audio interface has been made. And ultimately, down the line, two things I need to do. One, I want to Pokemon these things. I want to catch them all. At some point, I want to know the ins and outs. I want to be able to answer all the questions for that. And another thing I want to be able to do is, how do these work on Pipewire? Because right now, all I'm doing is telling you how they work with Jack. Because what you would typically be doing in a pro setup is with Jack, ALSA, Pulse Audio. Definitely want to put together a system down the road for that. But yeah, go check it out. Go play with it. And if that's interesting, tell your friends. Maybe we can convert a few more people.
That's awesome, Ben. Yay!
Christmas bash.
Oh boy. So since the holidays are upon us once again, I've actually decided to decorate my desktop for the festive season, as I do every year. And one of my favorite Linux scripts that is adorning my Linux terminal right now as we speak is a Christmas tree twinkling made in Bash. It is called the Christ Bash Tree script, or the tree-en.sh for English and tree-es.sh for Spanish. And I'm just going to show it to you here. I'm going to share my desktop. It's a beautiful ASCII tree with random light bulbs designated as the letter 0, which pop up flickering in multiple colors all over the tree. And it looks really cool. And this is the first time I'm doing live screen sharing here on LWW. But with the magic of WebRTC, it works well. And it works much better on Jitsi than it used to back in the day. So isn't it pretty, Ben?
It's terrifying, Joe.
Don't you like it? And this beautiful tree is available via curl as a wget command for Docker, or as a git clone. There we go.
I like that. I'm just reading over the licensing and stuff like that within the facts section. And it's like, will it run under whatever OS? Only Linux. Deal with it. What OS are you using in Ubuntu 17? So it's been a while. Terminal emulators.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's even a Docker.
Yeah, the Docker.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. That was our holiday festivity.
Yeah.
Fedora Asahi Remix. We talked about this a couple times, especially when they switched over from Arch to Fedora. That was kind of a big deal, Jill.
Yeah, it was huge. So the most polished Linux distro for the Apple Silicon M1 and M2 Macs is finally here. Introducing Fedora Asahi Remix, based on Fedora Linux 39, which is actually a really extremely zippy distro with excellent 64-bit ARM support. And actually here on LWW, we covered when the Fedora Asahi Remix beta was announced back in August. And we talked about that the new Asahi Linux flagship distribution would be the Fedora Asahi Remix. The teams have been working together for a while, as well as working with Arch Linux. And now the Fedora Asahi Remix has officially been released as a stable release. This is huge news. Of a stable release of a Linux distro for the M1 and M2 Macs. And KDE Plasma is actually the flagship desktop environment with complete Wayland support, audio support, and OpenGL 3.3 support. And GNOME 45 is also fully supported. And one of the best features of all is that the team has built a custom Calamares-based initial setup wizard for easy installation. And that's the number one thing here. Easy installation of Linux on the M1 and M2 Macs is now possible. And all you have to do is install Fedora Asahi Remix from Mac OS and run a simple curl script, and that's it. It's really quite amazing, and I'm looking forward to hearing others in the community that have M1 or M2 Macs that have installed Fedora Asahi Remix and how well that goes. It looks like it's supposed to be great.
And we're definitely at the point now where it's not just one little oddball like M series thing where everything's got the M chips in. We're talking about MacBook Airs, MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, Mac Studio, iMacs, M1, M2 are kind of omnipresent in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at the web zone here with the features. I'm going to assume the ones in not green, I'm hesitant to call that color red.
I know. It's like a pinkish color.
Those are our features that don't work, question mark. I'm not 100% sure on that. This is what I'm feeling from this and what I'm seeing here. What we're seeing, everything that works in green is display, keyboard, trackpad, headset jack, speakers, camera, the MagSafe, USB-C, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. And in the not green section, we have USB-C displays, Thunderbolt, USB 4, microphones, and Touch ID.
Touch ID. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say we're not quite 100% point for point, but definitely enough to get you up and running.
Yeah. And easy too. Much easier.
And apparently MagSafe is only available on the M2s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty wild.
So this is pretty good. I'm looking forward to the 40 Fedora Asahi Remix 40 edition. That one, they said lots of things are going to be cleaned up and fixed.
It'll be interesting to see what they're with. 100% Wayland, all the way down. Very excited about that. You know, Wayland's really good for SOCs. As I've discussed a couple of times, OpenGL is still a thing. It's still kicking around, so you don't have to worry about that. And apparently it's got really good audio because the line is not red and wiggly.
Yes. Yeah, they had to really think about the audio system because they had to rebuild it from ground up.
That's pretty cool. And I like that you can just install it with a curl command.
Yeah.
So just during the holiday seasons, you know, you're over at family's house. Don't accidentally run that. Make sure you do it only on your device because only you are going to be able to undo it if such tragedies may occur. But then again, one of the neat things about developing on iOS or iDevices, used ones anyway, I mean, more power to you if you can afford these things new, is they're static, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that Apple owns that entire chain. You know exactly what's going to be in every device that's released. There's very little guesswork for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely helped. You know, you're not dealing with whatever laptop, Dell or HP or whoever's made in like the 35 different variants of each line that they have, or Lenovo.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be able to get M1 on eBay. I think by the time we get to the like M4s, the M1s will be too dusty and icky for the Apple faithful to have in their presence and or house. So maybe they'll end up in a consignment shop and I'll pick one up to play around with. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it too. I've been wanting to play with the M1 and M2s, and I think now's the time to go get one. They're getting cheaper, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably talk yourself into getting like a used M1, just like pretend that you were buying like a Raspberry Pi 4 at the peak of the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Weigh it out like that. Before we get out of here, you can send in show notes if you're a patron at Death Note or above level. You get access to our show notes. You can watch them being made during the week, chime in, drop in story suggestions, or just leave them in our Discord under our show suggestions topic, like Arthurian did. Brought this to my attention. You know what Jellyfin is, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Because, you know, some of you like to keep your digital media stored at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so you don't have to stream it. You can stream it with Jellyfin, but I mean, you can stream it locally.
There we go. You don't have to use somebody else's cloud, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Jellyfin, for those of you who are like, that sounds familiar. If you're not familiar with Jellyfin, you might know about a little program called Plex. And Jellyfin's kind of like Plex, but really better in every conceivable way. Because Plex is kind of like a relic of the past. It used to be like the super hot, cool thing, and it worked on Linux and it was all that. But it's not that great anymore. And I would not suggest setting up a Plex server. If you got one right now, you do you. But speaking of relics of the past, Blockbuster. Blockbuster. Yeah. Why are we bringing this up?
VHS tapes.
This enterprising young gentleman decided to squeeze a Jellyfin server inside of a Blockbuster VHS cassette tape. Now, it's not pretty. The user Fluffy Mumbles, using a 02 hot glue, bad soldering, grinding, and no small amount of prayer. Completely a custom job. I got to show the inside of this thing. It fits.
Yeah, it fits. And what was fun is that the author said, "Oh, please excuse my soldering points. They're not that great." But it doesn't matter because you don't see it anyways when it's closed up.
He said what he wanted to do is have something that's self-contained, self-powered, that he can just bring over to a friend's house and plug into their TV and like, hey, this is kind of cool. This is the movie thing. We plug it in and start watching it. We got the Pi 02. We got a M.2 keyed SSD, I'm assuming, over USB and a little power bank over that. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little, a fun little holiday thing.
What a brilliant way to upcycle a VHS case. That's pretty cool.
Oh, dude. Some collector out there's having an aneurysm. They're frothing right now. And they're like, why did you destroy that collectible VHS cassette tape?
Yeah, I actually have quite a few of them in my collection because once upon a time I used to have to edit on VHS tapes.
You got to get Blockbuster ones, though.
Yeah, I do have a few of those, too.
Shame on you. You should have returned them by now.
Oh, no. They were given to me by someone who worked there and donated them to...
so you were in cahoots with a thief from Blockbuster. Now, a couple of things with the... He's like, eventually, speaking of unobtainium, wants to do this with a CM4 carrier board, but, that's kind of tricky to track down right now. And there are some limitations with the Raspberry Pi Zero W2. And the big one I know a lot of you are probably thinking about right now, I'm like, internet connectivity, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why this is something to be hooked up to a TV to play because you're limited to 100 megabit on the zero. I mean, okay, I get it, but I'm surprised the little thing can get online at all. It's an amazing little piece of hardware. I like playing around with it sometimes, but yeah.
Fine.
I thought that was cool. It'll be in the show notes. You can go check it out. And yes, it can run Nginx, Samba, an entire stack. I was able to, just out of curiosity, I set up the Raspberry Pi Zero 2 to see if it could run the stack I use for my Stream Deck here in the studio, BitFocus, which is web server, and it connects and everything. And it falls under the category of it can technically do it. But it's, once it boots, it's like in the old days, you go do something for 4 or 5 minutes, then come back to it, then it'll be ready to do stuff slowly. But yeah, you got to let it figure itself out there at the beginning. All right. Well, I got 2 people to thank this week, Joe.
Oh, yeah, we do.
I got 2 different names. One I talked about on Saturday. If you're looking for the latest in Linux gaming news, come check out Linux Gamecast. It's a comedy show that occasionally talks about video games.
You, Pedro and Jordan, have fun. And very informative as well.
Sometimes information breaks out. It happens. Now, years ago, I enabled a thing. I think it was just like a bulk thing with YouTube called like Super Thinks or whatever it's called. I'm probably getting that wrong, because YouTube's always A/B testing stuff, especially on me for no reason. I've never understood that. Like, I've seen features come and go, and I've talked about them. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know why I have it. And it'll just go away. But it was a thing for if you found a video or whatever, fun, informative, educational, whatever, you could like hit the little heart button. Like, here's a tip, here's a buck or whatever. I'm like, cool. Years and years passed. Nothing. I'm like, all right, whatever. I just cut it on. I was like, finally, this will, whatever. I'm like, okay, here, I'll just cut it on. I completely forgot about it. And I get a little ping and I'm like, what's going on? And DCI like kicked me 200 yen for
that's so awesome.
I was troubleshooting Firewire audio interface. I'm like, hey, well, give me some recommendations. I'm like, yeah, I just did that. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. That's part of like my get up in the morning, like check YouTube comments, like, okay, who can help out with this? And I mean, it's like $1.30 or whatever it was, which is great. It's not about the money. It was just like, oh man, that means a lot. That means a lot. And not to be outdone, because that was the first. DCI was the first with the super things, but the first thanks for a comment on top of that. The first one for a video, Linux Gamecast Weekly. What was last week's episode? 5 something?
Yeah.
591.
591. Wow. Yeah. Getting close to 600.
Right. Edgar dropped a thanks on the video. So thank you, Edgar. Thank you, DCI. Wow. Interesting. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. It comes out of nowhere. And we got love from the community.
It's like a new thing that shows up. And I'm like, what does this mean? I have to look it up because I'm easily confused. But something that's not very confusing. If you do like what we do, first off, if you do support us, kick us some coin every week. You're the real MVPs, but you already know that. You don't need anybody to tell you how cool you are. I'm going to tell you how cool you are anyway. We have a support page over at linuxgamecast.com with a bunch of options. Patreon, LibraPay, PayPal, Bitcoin. If you're down with that, we got Amazon wish list. If you want to send us something, a little present, we got a little Amazon wish list with a couple of trinkets. I got one for the studio. It's not little and it's not full of trinkets. If you want to be some big baller, but I'll pay you back for that. Don't worry about it. I'll embarrass you every week with your names behind me and lights. We got a merch store. We got Amazon storefront, and of course, our Humble affiliates. And yeah, Humble got me. Man, we got some new music because Humble was sending me too many emails.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like, Humble, you're sending me too many emails, man. I got to unsubscribe or I got to go back and change this. And I went to go back and change that, which led me to find another game music bundle. And I'm like, dang it, Humble, you made me spend more money. All right, beautiful people. We're going to roll out for the rest of this. We'll see you next year. Until then, let's cue some music.
Happy holidays. Christmas tree. Aw, thank you to our advisors, Omegas and Artherin, and our executive producers, Barbara Anscottum, Atomic, Mike G, and our Chicago people, Empty, Blasphemia, Nubbin, Super Death Stout, and our sea monsters, Renaud, Rider X Machina, Treadgills, Veritanuda, and our death notes. The text is starting to get smaller. And even smaller. We have so many lovely patrons to thank. Can't thank all of them in one show. But hopefully over the several years.
We've had 405 shows to do it, Joey. You'll get it.
I know.
All right, everybody. Have a great one.
Bye, y'all. Love you all. Yeah, Joe. So many people to thank.
All right.
Cool. Aww. Love to my brother Jellybean.
Next year is definitely a year.
I'm looking forward to next year. I really am.
We were talking about how quickly this year went by.
Yeah.
I don't really have a complaint that it went by too fast, but I definitely agreed with the wow, that was quick.
That's what it felt like to me. It felt like it was a month, not a year.
I was telling the stream, I was talking to Arthur about that. I got a little project whiteboard about, and I don't plan out. It's not a year, but when I get an idea, like I got an idea right now for a thing last night, or maybe the night before I got an idea for it, and it's just traditional dry erase. And I write that stuff down, and I put a date on it to shame me for not doing it.
Oh,
because when I see it, I got to look at it. I'm like, oh, right, I need to mark that off. And I had some stuff from the beginning of the year, and I'm like, oh, and I noticed that a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, no way, it's already been 12 months, right? Jeez. It's just kind of flown by.
Yeah, it really has. Oh my gosh.
Joe, I know you're at home with the family right now, so I'm taking that out of context that your family members are just spontaneously enlarging.
Yeah.
Run while you still can, my man.
Oh. Well, you have fun, Joe, and have some delicious tamales. That's one of my favorite foods of all time. I used to always help with a lot of people's Christmas tamale cook-offs, and we get like 15 people in the kitchen doing different things, and I always like to wrap the skin of the tamale with the cornmeal.
The flesh.
Yeah. Oh, cool, Joe. I will go look. Yummy, 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 yummy.
Scott is curious. It's packets versus streams, Scott.
Do.
And we're not talking about, like, you'd never notice it on a regular audio interface, right? Because what do you got? Like 99.9372, I'm just making up numbers, are 11% of the people, you have stereo output for your headphones. And maybe a couple of you, a much smaller percent of that, have stabbed it with an XLR cable and put a microphone into it. USB's great for that. Like, USB's fine for that. You're not going to be slinging 36 channels of uncompressed 48K over that.
Yeah.
There's a difference here. There's a pretty high-level explanation of it, Scott, but it does boil down to all of your audio interfaces, no matter if they are USB-C connectors, they're still USB 2.0. They are. Deal with it. And it's the packet base versus CPU processing versus just the streaming nature and the dedicated hardware for the FireWire audio interfaces. And FireWire has this great advantage of delivering the actual speed that it advertises.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, this one time we managed to hit this speed on a Tuesday after 4 p.m. in a lab.
Yeah. Well, it's based on that SCSI standard. So that's awesome. I always wished it would have been around longer and grew.
I wish I'd never looked into it. The more you looked into it, you're like, and we're still stuck with USB 2.0 on so many things.
Yeah.
And you can thank Apple for making it popular, and you can thank Steve Jobs for killing it. Because Steve Jobs went to Intel and he's like, hey, you know that like 25 cents FireWire port we get? How about $1 a port? That's our new thing. And Intel's like, nah. And Jobs even came back and he's like, I was just kidding you guys. And Intel's like, whatever. We already made up our mind. Deal with it. And it's such a better protocol than USB for so many things.
No comparison.
But, you know, you end up, it's the government contract, right? You end up with the lowest bidder, and there was no royalty or licensing for USB. Slap them on everything. And we just make do. Like I said, most of you, it doesn't make a difference, right? It just doesn't. You don't have to worry about it, nor would you. All right, let's see if the world exploded while we were doing the show. The fear of not constantly being on the internet. Well, still being on the internet, but not being in the consumption mode. No, all right, no emergencies.
I was happy the rain behaved itself because it came down pretty hard. I'm like, oh, sometimes when that happens, the electricity goes out. But since they've upgraded our systems recently, we haven't been having near as many issues with that, which is nice. Still happens, but not as much.
It's been a while since I've had any like weird. Oh no! What was it? It wasn't this Sunday. Last Sunday, I don't even think I mentioned it. I got up apparently, no matter how cold it is, I want like a little fan blowing on me.
Oh, yeah.
And that fan going off wakes me up, apparently, because I went to bed, went to sleep. So 4 or 5, it had to been like maybe 5:45, maybe 6 a.m. And I'm like, well, what? And I got another like 30 minutes of sleep going on here. What's going on? And why is everything so quiet? Why is the fan off? That's not good. Power was out
Oh, okay.
on Sunday morning. And I'm like,
Wow. Ooh, I'm happy it was after the show.
I was.
But you have to upload that YouTube video.
After 8 hours of editing, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I have a day of work I need to get done here. Fortunately, it came on like an hour and a half later, but I was just like sitting around. I was like, well, I'm awake now. I'm not. There was nothing to be done. I was like, so what do I do? I was already making plans. I'm like, go downtown or something. I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do around the house without any power. I can't get the show done. I got battery backup. I guess I had decided like worst case scenario, I'd just go get some petrol and like see if I can get the generator up and running. But yeah,
Oh.
everybody needs need little tiny reactors.
Yeah. I was grateful the last time I got to test when we had a scheduled power outage for maintenance. I was able to test my UPS on just my modem router, and I was able to get 3 hours off it. So that was nice. I was happy to find that out for future.
I don't have how much. I had to test that when they were when I had my tree fall down in the backyard.
Oh,
Because they had to come and like cut the poles down and like put up new poles and stuff like that. It was scheduled.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna be doing this all day, and like they were pretty much done by the time I got home. But I'm like, I want to get everything online, and so I probably could have got it if I had like a combo router, but I had to plug in the I just took an extension cord and pulled out the power bricks for the 4011 and the cable modem and like plugged it in. And I think it ran for like it was under 2 hours, but like close enough to where it really didn't make, because I plugged it into one of the big chonkers. I let it run and it sucked that down, and I cut the other one on. I'm like, boom, and like very shortly after cutting the other one on, the power came back on. So
good.
but yeah, it'll get you through.
Yeah, it'll get you through, because you need your Wi-Fi that you're not paying for tons of data like you would on satellite.
I need some data bits. The UPS in the rack is an emergency UPS. I breaker tested everything in this room. Just cut the breaker off and see. It maybe has 8 minutes. It's got enough power to keep things up and running if the power, blinks, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, cold fusion. That would have helped us a lot, Steve.
I don't want cold fusion. I want lukewarm fusion. Maybe slightly chilled fusion. Fusion slushy. It always perplexed me that we couldn't figure out a way to get a little bit of fissionable material into a properly shielded, human-proof container for heat. It's like having a permanent hand heater for your house, just to like blow some air out of whatever the insulator is. I understand, like, that's radioactive, but properly shielded. Have a little bucket under the sink making free energy. I don't know, man. We're a panicky species. You see, people are trying to like throw up the well, they've been doing it really since day one, but like they're going crazy panic about electric cars. They're like, oh my god, electric cars, they catch on fire and it'll destroy everything. And I'm like, you're driving around a car right now filled with liquid petroleum. It is a
Yeah, I
bomb.
know. It's a bomb. Yeah. That's
Like-
why they light up on fire sometimes when they get in crashes.
It's crazy, man. And like,
Yeah.
we're a very skittish species as a whole. That is such our nature. But, that's what got us to where we're at right now. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. But yeah, I'm looking forward to like just one of the battery technologies that we've read about that was coming. Just one of those to pan
Yeah,
out.
just one of them. Yeah.
Just so you can have a mobile device or portable battery that'll last a couple of weeks. That'd be fascinating. I'd be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we're still drilling on like lithium ion tech.
Yeah.
Kind of at the end of it. I was thinking to myself earlier this week, like, man, I love this Samsung tablet. I was like, I can get a solid 8 hours about that. I'm like, I really shouldn't be impressed by 8 hours in 2023.
Yeah.
I would have thought like by 2023, I'd be like, man, yeah, I got a solid 2 weeks out of this.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, best we can do is like a part of a day, not even half of, not even 12 hours, not even half a day yet, but we're still excited about like, and I'm talking about like using it too, not like battery sipping.
Exactly.
We need that and better battery tech and cheap GPUs. Let's bring back cheap GPUs.
Yeah. Let's bring back a high-end GPU for $300 instead of $1,000.
Or just anyone that's not poo for $300.
Yeah.
What was it? There is one. Yeah, I think this is an NVIDIA. Was it 3060? Oh wait, is that the recent one? Yeah. Yep. The 6 gig, the 3060 6 gig.
It's like, why?
Come
Your
on.
2060 is better than that. You got the 12 gigs, man.
It's a new budget. 3060 6 gig. You can get last gen for 100 and how much did they? 179, 189. Do you know where this does actually get a little interesting though, Joe?
What?
It's powered by the PCI Express.
Oh, PCIe. Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah.
It doesn't require an extra power cord.
That was the beauty
TGP
of
of
GTX 750.
So,
We finally have another 750.
and like it would be interesting but the downside is it's not going to have AV1 on it
Yeah.
because it's 30 series unless they redo the silicon, which I doubt they're going to do. Like, there's just nothing to get excited about. That's talking about that Saturday, I don't want to just accept that just a low-end video card these days is $500. Like a low-end
Yeah.
discrete card's going to run you $500. I'm like, I'm not ready to give up that fight.
I know. It's sad. I mean, I'm happy that the Intel Arcs are under 500 for a 16 gig. I mean, that's just not happening with NVIDIA and AMD right now.
Maybe in 2024. It's under $200,
But
boot. You gotta say that right, Canadian boot. It's not but.
yeah, I know the 1650 6 gig got power on the rail. And I'm trying to think. I have a 1650 Super, but I had to plug in a 6-pin, I think, on that one.
I mean, people will be excited about them. Like,
Yeah.
there is a market for $190 because you think about how many people we don't run into a lot, not in our circles.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, their gaming PC is like a Dell 3010, like I have under here, like these Butter Robot PCs.
Yeah.
that are ancient.
Intel APU,
They're 11,
yeah.
12 years old.
Yeah.
But like that's their PC. That's what is in the budget or even available to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to put, a gaming card in there, and they're going to jump at the ability to get like a 3060.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Finally have a newer one that's just rail power.
I'd like to see what AMD or even Intel can do with like really discrete GPUs. We've kind of seen the best thing we got right now is like what AMD has in the Steam Decks, and like, or what, it's that same chip, what Asus is,
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot. But I'd like to see them released one that was chonky. It's chonky. I know it's going to be hot. I know it ain't going to be cheap. But where's the incentive, though? They'd much rather sell you a video card. You can't start releasing CPUs with good graphics on them. It'd be silly. Then people aren't going to buy our GPUs.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your holidays if you do the holiday thing. If you're a holiday avoidance practitioner like myself, stay strong. And,
avoid the music in the stores if you can.
Just dodge it, man. Like, you've had all of November and most of December to prepare all of your excuses why you can't make it. Like, no, got this thing going on. No, I'm sorry. Just missed it, man. Maybe next year. And have a good time. If you are sitting around with nothing to do, you find yourself in desperate need for online companionship, I will be back with a couple of folks, our Filthy Casuals, on Friday at 7:30 my time. So if you got to
get away from the family, a quick way to get away from the family. Saying, "Oh, I need to go stream."
Come pop in and play some maps with us. How much is Trackmania on sale this week? Even if it's not, it's $9.99. Yeah, it's $9. So
nice.
Come hang out with us.
Oh, all right, everybody. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Steve Husband and Arthurian and everyone else watching. Love you all. Happy holidays.
R.I.P. Holiday Snowman.
Yeah. Yes.